Good day, everyone. Welcome back to another lunch concert. Thank you for following us on Instagram, Facebook. And today we have an amazing poet. He goes by the name The Silent Writer. Enjoy. Thank you.
See, as people on this world, we lean on different faces for different cases, different tongues from different races. We seem to want more than what we already have, and just like everyone ungrateful, now this is what I would do. See, I would close my eyes to fantasize on a world even I have never been to, wishing and hoping to wake up in a home that had brightly coated walls, the hood walls dressed in graffiti art that draws my whole being from within to retrieve everything that is in my heart. But just like aesthetic models who fail to adjust on a new runway, we constantly stumble and fumble when we run away from the slap of grace on our face. But just like everyone ungrateful, that is what I would do. And now I had to let my mind sink into the four corners of my brain. Letting my mind slip into the four corners of my brain, that's when I realized the silver spoon obsession is in vain. So I had to befriend my silent pen to appease and ease my pain that made me look insane. Insanity of fantasies. I sometimes hope and close my eyes just to wonder again and again, again and again. And I, like the prodigal son, came back to my senses and sensing that heavenly intervention for my transformation was in the confession of sins. Ever since that moment, my tongue hum hymns like idanjo emnandi ngeyakho nkosi, like my kupulo eyami ifaniso neyakho, to prove that every fact matters, and that is a matter of fact. Every dog has its day, for they would say, with hope and faith branded in their breath. So I learned and started to be grateful. I learned and started to be grateful for all the mornings, all the evenings, all the nights, all the evenings. I have a warm plate on my table. Bear in mind, others are digging in trash cans. I learned and started to be grateful of all the nights I wrapped myself with a warm blanket. Bear in mind, others are coiling their bodies under bridges. Even counting the stars in the sky has become their lullaby. But I have learned and started to be grateful of all the mornings I wake up with a smile on my face. Bear in mind, others see daylight as another struggle to push their backs back against the back wall. Now y'all should be grateful. Y'all should be grateful for whatever occupation you have and whatever commodity you need. And bear in mind, others have nothing but only brag about the air they breathe. Others have nothing but only brag about the air they breathe. Now see, every fact matters, and that is a matter of fact. So every dog has its day, for they would say, with hope and faith branded in and out of their breath. So I learned to be grateful. Thank you. That was gratitude. I hope you all are good. I hope you all are well. All over the borders, the seas, at home, keeping safe. I am the silent writer, poet, and pioneer of the mic emotions. And thank you to Alliance Francaise for having me. It sure looks and promises to be a good set. I have the band alongside, and we'll be fusing poetry with percussions, drum kits, and a loop station. I hope you enjoy. is an awareness of pride in blackness by black people, and implies that black people should and must appreciate their values as human beings, especially at a time where being black is now the new black and everyone is trying to look African. Camouflaging their skin has made them think they can come again. But that is never happening until we address the aftermath, where too many bodies and blood were a carpet on the floor. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust was always the theme for our gathering. Would you embark on my time machine and allow me to take you back? See, when I look back and remember the struggles of our forefathers under white minority rule, I close my eyes to behold a world even I have never been to, where the color of my skin meant I was barely human, grappling with dreams that had long gone into waste. Sleepless nights in exile as homes around the motherland were turned into heaps of coals, huge walls dressed in graffiti art that draws my whole being within to retrieve everything in my heart. And this is the aftermath. This is the aftermath. And how do you actually make the right choices when you are slowly drowning fitfully in a slimy, surreal pool of deep hypnosis, where liberation and the sound of victory are but a history of prayers piled and deposited exactly where the river banks, oh, who failed crossing to the other. If only your eardrums were in synchrony with the rhythm of your heart's beat, perhaps you would surmount the tidal repercussions and babble voices that opposes your lighthouse glow. Believe me, I know there is nothing so amazing like the life we live. Although at times you and I may grieve, I believe we are the tribe of tenacious demigods, subverting the nemesis on our skin, releasing the Pegasus from within to pave a Milky Way in the galaxies. The galaxies when made a little bit lower than the heavenly beings with the universe encrypted in us, and likewise we are right inside the universe, although lost in between these many roads leading us to many homes and many homes and many hopes that many hold in fear of facing the aftermath, which is our daily struggle. This right here is the aftermath. So on the percussions we have Mbabane. Mbabane is on the percussions, and this is why, this is actually a reason why you should follow this guy. The resounding reverberations that come from these hands, enough about the words, just listen to the rhythm of his drum. And on the drum kit is Mlungisi, also known as Mel G. This is what he has. Yeah. Yeah. That was Aftermath. So a little background story about Aftermath. Aftermath is actually a compilation of events that happened, prehistoric events that happened, and that are still happening, because there is a belief that we are facing struggles that are tantamount to those that were existing back in the days, but now it's more like a reinvention of all the struggles that we face. You name them, actually, and many of those are brought forth by the youth. It could be racial discrimination. Actually, not that it could be. It currently is, and hopefully it's something that we can thaw as the generation of today. Struggles like racial discrimination, religious discriminations, LGBTI community struggles, and unemployment, and the gender-based violence. All those are actually struggles that are compiled and put forth in this poem. In as much as it is upbeat poem, I wanted it to be an upbeat so that it sinks into your subconsciousness. And as it starts and begins to reverberate with your thoughts, it's actually something that you can at times feel like it's something you should resonate with. So that was Aftermath, taken from a project that I'm currently working on called Young, Black, and Hungry. And well, we don't have a date when it will be released, but be on the lookout. Okay, so the next poem is called Oath of Poetry. And I really love this piece because it's actually one that I wrote back in the days when I was trying to establish a footing in the industry. So it has a lot of words that not really speak to the soul, but just speak to the ears, because as a poet, when you tap into different worlds, different doors, knocking on different doors, you have to actually entice the audience, and by holding their attention, that is when you can actually unveil what you have in store. Without any waste of time, I hope you enjoy Oath of Poetry. What exactly is this? What exactly is this poetry you speak of? Is it the fusion of vocals and melodies that turn imaginations into visual art? Or is it the reason why Brenda Fast ordered us to Bulindlela as it walked through townships and suburbs until it found a home in our hearts? What exactly is this poetry that you speak of? For when the masses could no longer subscribe and tune to the one who is channeled, but instead find the one who remote controls our heart's desires, with our interface interlocked into his glorious high definition, a high elimination to all those who exalt vegetation as Hollywood. It is only good for poetry to speak volumes about those who are mute and even refute all kinds of mental doom with words that set a light upon the 9-to-5 workers who only think inside the box office. What exactly is this poetry that you speak of? maybe the rhythm and drums can best interpret it. The rhythm and drums could perhaps interpret what exactly is this poetry you speak of. Let go. And so I just love how you break it down. I just love how you break it down because it actually interprets what this poetry is, that is, as it rises and then dies, fading into the heart through the ears. For my strawberry lips shoot arrow like words, and my red heart is a very strong bow, brewed with words that refreshes like nothing on earth. On earth I am a bold and black label of poetry. Because of poetry, I was methylated and isolated in the driest savannah where 4 cousins were my extreme hunters. Reaching the Niederberg mountain was in vain. I was in need of 3 ships, but even then, poetry was my mainstay. Poetry is my mainstay, and I'm still on that Einstein way of using words to make what can never be and seem to be sweet like honeybee. For there will forever be a bosom little bee line between me and spoken word. Poetry, nothing else but the whole poetry. Nothing else but the whole poetry. Hey, nothing else but the whole poetry. Nothing else but the whole poetry. Poetry, 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 nothing else but the whole poetry. Say what? Poetry, nothing else but the whole poetry. Hey, poetry, nothing else but the whole poetry. Hey, poetry, nothing else but the whole poetry. Poetry, nothing else but the whole poetry. Hey, hey, poetry, nothing else but the whole poetry. Poetry, nothing else but the whole poetry. Poetry, nothing else but the whole. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else. Now that was an oath of poetry. Nothing else but the whole poetry. Nothing else but the whole poetry. And how it goes. Yeah. So the next one is it's called Babel Tower, and it is actually another compilation of struggles, because I believe as creatives, ours is not only to entertain, ours is also to mediate between those who are suffering and those who can extend a helping hand. Ours is to mediate, ours is to heal. more than anything else. And I feel like at a time like this, Allianz is doing a really great job by providing and stretching out a platform like this, whereby we could heal beyond seas and regions, beyond every boundary that is now put forth by the current pandemic. So this one, I hope it finds you in a positive space, and if not, this is the remedy. Thank you. So, when you are drowning, slowly, fighting, drifting, in a slimy, surreal pool of deep hypnosis, liberation and the sound of victory are but a history of prayers piled and deposited exactly where the river banks all who failed crossing to the other. But if only your eardrums were in sync with the rhythm of your heart's beat, you would surmount the tidal repercussions and all the bubble voices that opposes your lighthouse glow. Believe me, I know. There is nothing so amazing like the life we live. Although at times you and I may grieve, I believe we are the tribe of tenacious demigods, subverting the nemesis on our skin, releasing the Pegasus from within to pave a Milky Way in the galaxies. Galaxies when made a little bit lower than the heavenly beings with the universe encrypted in us, and likewise we are right inside the universe, lost in between the many roads, leading us to many homes and many hopes that many hold in fear of, living under a gravitational pull from which Victoria folds in attempt to gyrate on the Mediterranean poles, where fake smiles have become a collage to camouflage our bleeding soul. Comforting the bleeding soul is now my sole purpose as I relight that flickering flame of hope, chalk in the mundane palms of desire and greed. Indeed, such deeds were incut since the fall of mankind. Now men are so kind towards creation more than they were to the creator. It's a battle of the spirit and soul, but I am sure your heart is the greatest predator. For the hope of the slave is himself a slave with nothing else greater than a free mind. In his demise, delicate are those adversity will suffocate, devastate and segregate from those with a silver platter. But so long as you see another like some kind of a threat, you will never behold the throne from which your son ever sat. While in this debate where the agenda is a bait fashioned to divide and weigh you down, that is why brothers and sisters are eventually foes. I suppose there can never be peace and unity when we oppose the truth and make it look simplified, and make it look even simplified. We have now simplified the truth and simplifying eternal ruin when you've simplified the truth. But I say don't divide what's divine, because due to the time seers are seriously blind, as their blessings and miracles manifest only when you bring that manifest. And now we are caught in between spears and guns, pianos and drums, detracting with tractors on farms. But to me, medicine and roots are just the same in a psalm, like chaff appearing to be drunk. We are bemused by our existence, but giving in isn't really part of the game plan, so we stand tall, living in persistence. We are now living in persistence. Thank you. And it would be really, really not a good idea if we would finish this cert without honoring the women who are still standing in the forefront, who are still in line, and those who have passed from our hands and because of our hands. This one is actually a badge of appreciation to all the lovely women that raise us, that carry us, and the women that have died fighting for our lives. So this one is called a poem for Umama. I hope you enjoy. Awunandvodza mfati utihlalele. Indandatho emnweni seyijingeba luhlazo loyawuhlukana nalo ekufeni. Ebusweni lusizi lugqame njengenhloko emshweni. Umyeni wakho sowahlala emaphusheni, ebusheni wawufisa umenvo nyalo umenvo uhohloke njengematolo ekuseni ku. Seni uma indvodza ihamba ibhamba ikhohle ngemdeni, umyeni wakho sowahlala emaphusheni. Emehlo safukamele sitiba selusisi. Banfana babuke wena njengemsizi welikhaya leselasima ngetitfaba imvama. Umyeni wadliwa tintsaba tindzaba tivela ngetibhobo temuhlwa nakuhlwa lithemba yalo tita nakukotita emenveni ubheke lukhalweni mhlambeni likhwa lisatobuya likubambe elukhalweni njengemihla leyo mihla nemalanga yashona nakushona lilanga nyalo budze besikhatsi kudale umkhatsi loveta ngekhatsi kungathi tindlebe netihlathi tehlukaniswe lihlathi inhlitiyo ngumthakathi uma abantwana babe soloku bafuna babe abe ngubabe lobabe kela umlandvo ngesabo sibongo but still awunandvodza mfati utihlalele yet we celebrate you. We celebrate all the mothers who are a tower of impact. With warm hands she changes indlu ibe likhaya tonke tinkinga utinqoba ngelikwaya. And this is a poem for umama, not just any mama but the kind of mother loshintsha igrosa ibe kudla ngisho yena kanye umshini loyishintshayo, for she prepares food for her family, despises Hennessy and never roams the streets. Instead early kusenombonombo she rises up to clean and sweep ngalana athulisa ingani nguye lofuthumalisa likhaya mngani. And today we celebrate her kind noma kanjani. Today we celebrate the kind of mother who, even without a man, the might of her works might work as if she is the man. Not just any man, but the kind of man and woman, the kind of male and female. She is the Mr. and Mrs. Mistress, your love even I cannot express. Ngoba ngumduduzi ulthandvo and a painkiller to every distress. With sticks and stones she builds a future for her children. The kind of mother lopatala skolo naga hola a salary of just selling fruits and veg as you are on the verge of being entertained by this poem. To her now this poem is a badge of hard work, for her tears will never kiss the ground. Every voice uttered is branded with light. Noma sebangacisha logesi, she is rooted on solid ground. Akakweshi elokhuzaneni, but I have got a question. Why do we shy away from celebrating all these women of noble character? This women of noble character and logo udugile. Bantfa bakhe bakhutshwa ngenhlonipho akekho lodugile. And I, like Simpiwe the Bard once said, ungumuntu ubuntu bakhiwa ngumuntu sintfu sithi lutfu mina ngithi. Let us love and respect our women. Let us love and respect our women. Let us love and respect our women. hope it resonates with, let's break it down a bit, I hope it resonates with you at home, because the way gender-based violence is escalating, it's really appalling, and it's crazy because we are the ones, both men and women, we are the ones who can end the struggle. But more than anything, I feel like we as men should stand up. We should stand up and find ways to resolve our matters, because violence is never an option, and it never will be an option. A poem for Umama speaks not only to women, but mainly to men. Thanks a lot once again. I am the Silent Writer, and I hope you enjoyed a little bit of soul food. Let us keep the movement, let us keep the fire burning, let us keep the positive energy in motion, and in that way we will be as joyful as ever, because divided we fall, but together we are standing stronger than ever. I am the Silent Writer. Follow the poet on Instagram as the real Silent Writer, on Facebook as Silent Lamini, and that is where we could actually keep in touch, and you learn when the project is out, and you learn how you could play your part in the Mic Emotions, a movement bridging the gap between creatives and art fanatics. Otherwise, from me and the band, it has been a great time. But since you are on a journey of life, this could be a great way to give you umpago endlel. So we are just gonna jam with the boys and find out a way to actually heal those scars, because that is actually the main objective, that is the paramount objective that we play as creatives, to heal every scar and amplify every soul that is on a positive note. This is a sound originating from the tweeting of birds to roughly constructed hollow sticks through which one could blow and make a sound. The beating of drums and feet stomping on ground became a melody. A kick, a beat, a clap for you to grab and dab sideways. The only clue to be with you and never part ways. An invisible spear to tear and penetrate our mental subways. In some ways, the air I breathe is our pathway. For you are conceived in those drums. From the drums to the speakers, from speakers to creatures through sound waves. A painkiller dissolving depression into joyful fountains. From all mountains you gathered cool kids, all kings, even all cliques. And you are the reason why the Silent Writer speaks. On a mic I spit fantasies, you lit galaxies on canvases. A language spoken overseas. Black or white, everyone can figure this. And this is what motivated me to be on on bigger screens. I'll never stop until the fat lady sings. Until she sings. Until she sings about the way I am so intoxicated by the wine of love. But what does everyone seek so earnestly? Is it not that which is the subject of our inmost thoughts? In love we sublime and become one. See, I never knew what the actual meaning of you in my dreams meant, for they say dreams can never come true, but you are the reason why my heart's learned kung fu. I mean dogas lenhle phambi kwami ufanele inhliziyo yami ngaloko angitisoli ngoba sonke wami sithamba sami umqondo wami isikhala ujulile luthando lwakho longibita wena noma uthulile similo sakho nemavi ehlukile uyintokazi lesimamisa likhaya bonke selibahlulile ngako lena nkondlo ayina chorus intokazi lenhle njengelanga kuseni thatha sandla sami bambo lwami ngikuthanda kuze kube sekufeni ngikuthanda kuze kube sekufeni. Thanks a lot for having us. Thanks a lot for having us. I am the silent writer because my pen speaks louder. Thank you.